Hello, this is Team 4, and this is our project, Fun with Physics. I'm Morgan McCaffrey.
I'm Alex Berry.
I'm Brian Godino.
So a major part in this part of our project was working on the refinement. We were able to use different aspects to help incorporate what we needed to fix with the design, what could help incorporate it, and just comparing ours to other products.
So we've revised our project plan since phase 1. Basically, we decided that tasks F, G, and H were interdependent and could be worked on together. And our progress can be shown in the Gantt chart. We've completed 2 out of 3 obstacles and are working on the 3rd. So technically we're ahead of schedule, but we've accounted for buffer time. So first we sketched potential obstacles and we organized them into categories based on which learning objective they're meant to teach. And then we used a concept combination chart to develop potential BRG devices. Using this table, we came up with our potential devices shown on the next slide. So here are some of our potential devices. Having a visual representation of these devices really aided in the process of screening and scoring each concept.
So one of the big parts in our intellectual property section were the customer surveys. This helped us evaluate how our customers would react to our product and really how we would move forward from that point. And this you can see that when polled if they would buy the product, 53% said maybe and 12% said definitely. So overall we had at least over 60% people saying that they would most likely buy it or had some interest in the product. We furthered this to say if they were to buy it, what price would they be comfortable with purchasing at. This price landed with the most percentages in the $0 to $20. This is reasonable because when we did the survey, we didn't have an actual picture for them to really see what they were buying. They just had to go off of an explanation. So I think if the survey would have been done again and had some type of diagram or explanation or maybe a CAD drawing to really show them what they would be purchasing, the rates may be higher, more towards the 21 to 50, and we had a pretty good amount say that they would spend a reasonable amount of money, which helps us when we're developing the cost and what our overall product point would be. Finally, we said where would our product be found, because this really limits us to where we can market our customers, and fortunately we found that it was almost 50-50 in who said that they would find it at their house versus that they would find it at school. So this can be for teachers, this can be for students at home, maybe people being homeschooled that need more interactive learning than just from a textbook, and so it really expanded our market and it gave us more valuable customers.
So we used a concept screening matrix to narrow down potential BRG designs. So based on the criteria that our team agreed upon, we eliminated concepts 1 and 4. This allowed us to move on to our next step, which was a concept scoring matrix. So in our concept scoring matrix, it's important to note which criteria we heavily weighted. So we heavily weighted the understanding of learning objectives and the fun factor, as these criteria, 1, teach the subject matter, and 2, keep the student engaged. Those were our heaviest weighted criteria. And based on the scoring, we decided that concept 3 was the most viable option to pursue. So after we decided upon concept 3, we did a failure modes and effects analysis chart to identify potential areas of weakness in our design. As you can see in the highlighted sections, the severity of a malfunction in an obstacle is much greater for the obstacles that are earlier in the BRG. So we found that the target and the button, mousetrap button, were our 2 highest risk priorities that we needed to focus on.
So for economic analysis, we had to figure out the monthly or the quarterly payments that we would need to make in order to pay back a loan from VTEPs. And so from DP1, it was around $15,000 for total cost. So we thought it would be a realistic loan of $20,000 from VTEPs. And from there we used Excel and determined that quarterly payments would have to be around $2,009.24, given a 12% interest rate and 3 years to repay the loan. And the other economic portion we had was we had to decide the interest rate of return on investment, and we decided 15% was a realistic interest rate for a company to expect back from a loan. And so we thought that the BRG probably would not start making a profit until the 5th quarter, and so from there we determined an annuity from the 5th quarter until the end of the 3 years. And in using Excel and different formulas, we came up with an annuity of $3,406, given our loan of $20,000. And for the decomposition diagram, it basically goes through the energy, the material, and the signals relating to the BRG itself. And so we trace the energies going from one obstacle to another, from a ramp to a spring, and the ball on that path, of course, will go down the ramp, it'll enter the obstacle with the spring, and from the spring it'll hit the target and trigger the mousetrap, and that's where the signal starts, because the mousetrap will cause a button to be pressed, and that button will cause an LED to turn on, which will signify that the BRG was completed correctly.
So overall, we had a lot of things that incorporated and factored into refining our product. We had the failure mode analysis, effect and analysis, we had different costs, the intellectual property of finding patents that were either similar or had some role that was into making our product. It showed us what worked, what hasn't worked, what we could incorporate. Also, the survey was a major help because we were able to zero in on what people enjoyed, what their target group factor was, and the prices of money, or if they would even buy the product. And overall, just gave us a big customer interest factor. It gave us a lot of material that we could use to further refine and then start manufacturing processes for our project.